Hey yo, welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Planet. I'm Kwame Love, and the star of today's show is collard greens. That's right, from the deep south into your mouth. All right, on today's show, we're doing sauteed collard greens with onions and garlic. One of my favorites. It's a staple in the house. You gotta eat greens every day because, like I say, that's how animals get their protein. Collard greens, it's a staple in the South. I grew up in North Carolina. I grew up in a household always watching my mom, make a lot of vegetables because a lot of times we weren't able to get to the store. We grew up in a rural area, and so, we had a huge backyard. So we'll make most of our food in the backyard. So that's why I'm really big on vegetables. And man, just watch how we're gonna do it today. Real quick, real simple. Now, of course, growing up in the South, the way you traditionally make collard greens is you boil them for a long time. And that takes all the nutrients out. A lot of people then would drink the broth. So the broth is really good for you. And then you have the collard green meat that's left over. And that's another concept that, we want y'all to really get used to, or at least I've been getting used to, is this idea of vegetable meat and fruit meat versus animal meat. Now, of course, meat isn't just exclusive to humans and animals and flesh in that sense, but meat just means like the fiber part of anything, the matter. And so I've been training my son and my family, we're trained to think of, we're just eating vegetable and fruit meat, So anyway, check it out how we're gonna do it today real quick. It's gonna go by like that. All right, so here are our ingredients for today. Real simple. Once again, we just got some lime. We love lime and garlic and onions always to season our vegetables instead of using, like sauces or whatnot. And of course, we got our collard greens, nice and fresh. They're still crisp. We're going to use olive oil and some sea salt, and that's it. All right, real quick and easy. Let's jump into it. All right, so first we're going to cut our onions up. And you can cut your onions however you like. And after we cut our onions, we're going to throw them in the pot first and let them break down a little bit. Let them stay in there for about maybe 2 minutes. Depending on how you like yours, you might want yours to stay in there 3 or 4 minutes. Really break down, caramelize. Of course, the sweeter you want it to be, the longer you'll let it cook. But like I said, we're going to do about 2.5 minutes on ours at the most. All right, so we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna put our onions in here first. And normally we don't need that much olive oil, but we're gonna use that amount for our collard greens. All right, next, we're going to wash off our collard greens and then chop them up. All right, now we're going to chop up our collard greens. And we're going to do the stems too because there's so much nutrients in the stems. Now, you may choose to de-stem yours like this. You take the stem out and you just got the leaf. But we're going to keep our stems because, like I say, there's tons of nutritional value in the stems. So we're keeping all of it. And this is a good crop of collard greens right here. Ooh, you hear that crunch? And you hear that crunch? Yeah, that's a good sound. All right, now that we got our collard greens chopped up. Oh yeah, it's looking good. Now we're gonna put our collard greens in here. And we got a lot of collard greens. And so we're gonna try and get all of these puppies in here because you know they're gonna cook down. They're gonna break down. And because this is such a big amount of collard greens, this is two bushels, 2 heads. I guess that's what you call it. I don't know, but you saw it. We're gonna let this break down. Might take about, we're gonna go for a couple of minutes maybe. All right, it's been maybe a minute and a half. We're just gonna stir them up. Stir them up so that the ones that have been closest to the heat, give them a little reprieve from the heat. Let the top part get down to the heat. And just gonna break them down. We're gonna go for a couple more minutes, let them break down. You see that nice bright green? That's what we want. We want that nice bright green because we don't want to overcook these. So that's why we're gonna keep stirring them so that all parts of the collard greens, you know, are able to get some heat and break down a little bit. That's all we want them to do. Just break down a little bit. So we've been stirring them. It's a nice green right there. That's what we want. We want them just to get tender. We don't want them to get too dark green because that means they're a little overcooked for how we want them. We want all the nutritional value. All right, this is how we gain our strength right here. All right, now we're gonna add our sea salt. And it may look like I'm putting a lot of sea salt, but man, these collard greens can be pretty bitter, so it's not that much. Right. So we like how this is looking. It's a nice bright green. That's what we want. And they're nice and tender, and because we want them to be kind of crunchy. We want to maintain a little crunch value. And now we're going to chop up our garlic and add our garlic last. All right. So we're gonna turn our heat down, and actually we're gonna take them off the heat. All right, now we're gonna squeeze a whole lime in there. A whole lime. We're gonna put the whole lime in there, and if you need to, you can add some more sea salt. We turned our heat back on because we added the garlic. And so we want the garlic to mesh. But like I said, we don't want to overcook our collard greens. So maybe total cook time might be anywhere between 6 to 10 minutes. And lastly, I forgot, we're going to add some apple cider vinegar. And I forgot to put that on our list of ingredients for this. We'll get 1 cap, 2 cap, 3 caps. And just for good measure, let's go 3.5 caps. All right. All right, so we have turned off our heat. You know, we're letting it absorb a little more heat, break down, but we're not going to let it break down any more than this. And so there we go. There's our sauteed collard greens with onions and garlic, lime, and apple cider vinegar with some sea salt. Ooh, now that's good eating. All right, there you have it. Another episode of Plant-Based Planet. We had the sauteed collard greens today. And we just want to send a warm thank you to all the people out there that have been subscribing and liking. And we've been checking our analytics. And it seems like most of our subscriptions and the likes have been coming from Oregon and a lot of places in the Midwest with farms. And I didn't know animals were actually watching YouTube. But it seems like, our likes from chickens and cows are just at peak. They're at peak. And, I hopefully some more humans, join in on the movement. And, hey, let's take this to Plant-Based Planet. All right, y'all, I'm Kwame Love. And once again, thank you for tuning in. All right, peace and blessings.